We have all just heard a very informative briefing by Professor Richie Robertson and Dr. Pat Joseph of the Seismic Research Center at the University of West Indies in Trinidad, which is the entity, the scientific entity, which has been responsible for the monitoring of the Soufriere volcano. And in the month of November into December, it has been providing, that is to say, the Seismic Research Center has been providing us with advisories as to activity occurring at Soufriere volcano. And as you've heard them say, there are activities recorded, which seismic activities not of any significance beyond the very normal and constitute essentially background activity. And that there have been a number of seismic events which have been recorded since November the 1st. And then on the 16th of December, the visual observations conducted by our own Soufriere monitoring unit suggested that there were marginal changes in the small lake occupying the eastern crater floor and fumarolic activity, heat and gas. You heard that also from the Seismic Research Center. On December the 28th, as you would have heard them say, routine observations made by NASA for hotspots across the globe indicated a hotspot within the crater of Soufriere. And on the 29th of December, additional satellite images indicated an extension of this hotspot. And we ourselves got reports, and there's a resident from Rose Hall who indicated that there were grayish-white emissions being seen above the general area of the crater. Today, a team from the Seismic Monitoring Unit visited the crater, and they reported the presence of a satellite dome on the southeast of the existing dome, and you saw that on the image. There are strong gas emissions, and the small crater lake is virtually gone. Well, you've heard the reason for that is that the water is boiling, and it is coming out through a steam. So it's a very good thing that you had this image before us. And what we have had today is an effusive eruption, an oozing eruption, the internal within the crater itself, with visible gas and steam coming out. And that started from earlier today. With this increase in activity, we have moved the alert level to orange. When there's no activity, it's situation of green. When there's a little restlessness, you carry it to yellow. But now that there is an effusive oozing eruption taking place, we have to take the alert level up to orange. This means that there's a higher elevated activity of heat and gas called fumarolic activity at the volcano, and with a strong sulfur smell. And the effusive eruptions, as you heard from the Seismic Research Center, may continue. And it may end up as an explosive eruption. But in 1971-72, you had a similar oozing and it just simply oozed and just quietened down until, of course, in 1979, you had a big bang eruption. As Dr. Robertson says, the good thing is if it just simply oozes. In other words, let off its steam now within the crater itself. Now, all the residents in the areas, in the communities between Fancy to Georgetown and from North Leeward and the North Leeward area from Belial upwards, you have to be on alert, especially. And at relatively short notice, you may get an order to evacuate if in fact we have the scientific information that an explosive eruption will be occurring, or at least the likelihood of it. So you have to be on your alert. It's very important that we get that in our minds, particularly persons who are from Fancy to Georgetown, which includes Montgomery Daniel, where my house is in Goss. I'm at the border, just below, and those in North Leeward from Belial, going up northwest. Now, the National Emergency Management Organization has been briefing me on the activities of the volcano for several weeks and months. And of course, as you heard, we have been in discussions with the Seismic Research Center, and we are getting 3 scientists, including our own Dr. Robertson, who is a professor at the University of the West Indies. We are having him and Lloyd Lynch and Ian Juman to come. I made contact with the Minister of National Security in Trinidad and Tobago already, Stuart Young, to have the clearance for them to leave Trinidad. That has been granted. We've made arrangements with the regional security system, and the plane's on standby. The plane is on standby to go to Trinidad to take the 3 of them to us. As you heard, Dr. Robertson, Professor Robertson, is that it's important that the scientists come on the ground with their equipment to be able to measure in a more precise way what is taking place and to advise the civilian authorities, and we in turn would inform. We have a responsibility to the public, and we have to be responsive to the public, and you will get all the information in the way in which we have made Professor Robertson and Dr. Pat Joseph available to the media here on Zoom. I'm urging all Vincentians to remain calm and to listen to the alerts from the National Emergency Management Organization. All residents living close to the volcano are asked to make all necessary preparations to evacuate just in case an order is given. I want to emphasize, no evacuation order is being given. This is really an alert because of the increased activity taking place at Soufriere, with the effusive eruption internally, with the heat which is coming out, and with the steam which is coming out. Look, we have to be very careful that we don't tempt fate. Nobody should be going up there, and if you're up there, you have to come out, because the place up there would be very hot. And all recreational visits to the volcano are to be suspended with immediate effect. And please, I'm asking you to refrain from visiting the volcano at this time, due to the heat itself, but very much so the strong sulfur can also affect your respiratory system. And of course, if you're up there, you don't want to be there if you have an explosive eruption. That's why you can't go and tempt fate. I'm going to have a meeting of the National Emergency Management Council shortly. We should have started half an hour ago. I would leave straight from here and go there. What we are doing is we're going to be addressing, we provide the information what we have here to everybody on the National Emergency Council, but we have to go through the follow-through elements of our plan. This is the St. Vincent and Grenadines National Emergency Management Plan, Annex 4, which deals with the St. Vincent and Grenadines National Volcano Emergency Plan. And some of the things which we have to do just in case the worst were to take place. Among other things, we have to make an immediate, to enlarge, to specify the inventory for vehicles, what would be available, private and public vehicles, to move persons just in case from the areas. We have to identify buildings, including guest houses, if we have to evacuate persons. We have to do so in safe areas, clearly, which would mean the areas which are in the south, the southernmost portion of St. Vincent. And we have to have all the various sets of people mobilized. The commissioner, for instance, the police, that's why the commissioner is here. Tonight, the police have a big awards and retirement ceremony. I've spoken to him about that. It will go on, but it would be a slim down affair, I believe. And I was supposed to do a feature address there. I will show my face because, important as that is, this is what is of priority. We put all the systems in place because on the National Emergency Management Council, we have all the various important ministries and heads of departments and the like, people from health and transport and so on and so forth, social development, because it is as if we are having, this is another disaster which is in the prospective, which is in the offing. In the same way as you have a hurricane, we have been this way, but it's only that we have to do this differently because a different kind of a threat. And there's a specific plan which we have. And that is what this meeting is going to be about, effecting the plan at the stage where we are. It is important to get the 3 scientists on the ground tomorrow afternoon, evening, the latest, because they're going to do their COVID test now in order to leave Trinidad and to enter St. Vincent, but there's a special protocol for persons in that situation. In other words, they're not going to be quarantined for 10 days, clearly, because the exigencies of the situation. And that's all in the protocol too, that in such situations like this, the chief medical officer will provide for them to function. They will, yes, as the commissioner points out, it would be a working quarantine. working, W-O-R-K-I-N-G, quarantine, so that we can get the important work done by them. And they're bringing in additional instruments. As you heard, I remind them, don't forget to bring the equipment on the plane for us to better be able to predict within the frame of science what is likely to happen. In the meantime, we stay on alert and we give Almighty God thanks and praise for all the blessings He has given to us amidst all the vicissitudes of life. This is not a time for lamentations. This is a time for us to draw on our inner strength and our resilience and help one another. It has been a challenging year. As Professor Robertson said, we have been able to deal with COVID well. We have the Soufriere volcano, it's there, and that also we will, with God's blessings and His protection, and with all of us working together, I'm absolutely sure that we will meet this challenge successfully. Let's hope for the best, and we're planning for if the worst takes place. Thank you. I don't know if you have any questions.
Yeah. There will be a lot of noises coming out from certain quarters, from the quote-unquote experts. How soon would the media be able to meet with the scientists so that the more information goes out to the general public?
Well,
Well,
the point about it is this. We just had a very good briefing. We just had a very good briefing by two leading scientists in this area, including arguably the most accomplished volcanologist in this part of the world, Professor Robertson, whose family comes from Rose Hall. And you can be assured that the press will get, as it always does, it will get the relevant information and up-to-date information. Look, in this day of mass misinformation, all we do is speak the truth, and you, the members of the press, be responsible. Persons who want to talk what they want to talk, I hope they would realize that it's not a time for any kind of disinformation. Already, I'm getting the Prime Minister of Barbados has been in touch with me, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the President of Guyana. I'm quite sure that there are other messages inside the ordinary citizens across the Caribbean are texting messages of support, so that, you know, somebody just text me, reminded me that we have 2 Earth scientists at the energy unit and so on. I know they're there at the energy unit, but when they come, they will work with our own seismic unit. Somebody just texted me. I just borrowed my grandmother's phone to tell you that I'm thinking about you and our country. And please do what you have to do to make your country proud. So, whilst there are people who are, while there are people who will say things, there are multitudes who are also. So I don't really bother with the negativism. If I do that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, you know. So let's stay positive. Don't know any other questions. We have to go to do our work at the National Emergency Management Council. And thanks for coming by. I really appreciate you being here.